right, guys, welcome in. It's Brad with College Sportscast. We are here to do the Fanboys Season 2 Kickoff Marathon Special. Here's our new intro.
We executed.
I heard a fan offer free Dippin' Dots if I blew it.
Wanted to have some fun, execute.
I had bombs.
Stay as a team, execute, give 100%.
Dippin' Dots sound good.
What's up? Do we still get the Brad delay? Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Oh, my. Did y'all not play twice?
Oh, no, it didn't. It played only once.
Yep.
We're just waiting on you.
Twice.
Hey, we're waiting on you, brother.
All right. On my end, it played twice. That's all I know.
This happens every time. I don't know.
Hey, welcome to the college sportscast experience.
So, I don't know. It played twice on my end. I don't know why. But anyways, welcome to College Sportscast. We are here to do the DaFanBoys Season 2 Kickoff Podcast Marathon. We are thankful to be sponsored by Pepsi tonight. I've got a Pepsi here. I've also got one of those too. And we're proud to be sponsored by Pepsi tonight. We're also been for this marathon. We've been sponsored by Arden's Burger and Grill and Clemson Wine Bar, as well as True Victory and Amazon. So I want to get those out of the way. We're going to do. There's a Pepsi. We're going to do a little bit of our run through a few things that we do on our shows throughout the week. We're going to start out with our weekend wrap up. Yesterday, there was the first games for college football for the season, and it opened up with Notre Dame versus Navy in Dublin, Ireland.
It wasn't
wasn't
much of a game, to be honest.
I thought Notre Dame looked good, guys.
They did.
Well, Notre Dame looked like what they should be doing, but that's like, I mean, did we really expect anything more than what actually took place as far as what Notre Dame did?
And I'm gonna be honest with you, Navy didn't even have a passing yard until the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
I mean that's kind of Navy's
I get
MO.
that, but that's they was behind 35-0. Like when you get that bad behind, you got to start throwing the ball, man.
But they don't. Those teams like that, they don't do that much. Even when they're behind, they don't do that much.
Right.
I thought that Notre Dame took care of business. They only gave up 3 points on the defensive side of the ball. Mm-hmm. I thought Hartman played a really exceptional game for the first game. He was 19 at 23, 4 TDs, 250 some yards. I thought he played a really exceptional game yesterday. Sam Hartman did for Notre Dame. And then last night we had a couple of games. One of them was delayed forever, and it didn't end after midnight Eastern time, and that was Vandy and Hawaii.
Is Vandy any better?
Did either one of you watch the?
Yeah,
I watched the first half of that one.
I watched the whole game. Vandy will be lucky to win 3 games this year.
Vandy looked way better last year against Hawaii than they did last night.
I agree. That was Vandy's going to have some difficulties. I'll just leave it at that. And I don't think they're expecting to get to a bowl this year. I think they're just trying to,
I think their coach is expecting them.
Well, he's expecting to get to a bowl game, but I don't think they're at that level yet.
Watching it last night, man. I mean, they gave up 10 yards a pass play per reception.
Still a lot of holes on the defense.
Yeah, defensively it didn't look great. Offensively, I mean, it looked like they were able to move the ball just as good. For the most part, they were able to move the ball. And then they've got to figure out how to use McGowan. McGowan, use him however you can. I mean, that guy needs to affect every play, whether he's a decoy or he's getting the ball. So
yeah, I agree with that. I mean, defensively last night they struggled bad.
Yeah. Defensively, they didn't look great at all.
And if you're going to struggle against Hawaii, then you're probably going to struggle in the SEC.
Yeah, you're not. You're basically going to have some issues there. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I say.
And I'll be honest with you, we look at it from the USC perspective. Their defense is about as bad as it was last year.
Well, I mean, have we ever known of a Lincoln Riley team where they had good defense? No. They've got good offense, but have you ever heard of a Lincoln Riley team that had good defense?
But he don't.
No, but have we ever known a Lincoln Riley team to get past the first round of the college football playoff or get back to the college football playoff?
Well, of course not, because they've never made it to the championship game. So that would make,
Barrett Sally said something pretty interesting yesterday. He said, until they get a defense, they'll never win a national championship.
And he's correct.
And he's correct.
I mean, guys,
they need something that looks and remotely pretends to be a defense out there. And I'm
just going to say from this perspective, if San Jose State racks up that many yardage on you, and you still got Bo Nix to play in Oregon, you got Michael Penix to play in Washington, and then you have to play
Cam Rising with Utah.
Yeah,
like what's those offenses going to do to you? Is the question. Like, if you let San Jose State,
we saw what they done to them last year. Really,
yeah.
And they'll do it again.
But the issue was USC kept it competitive because they had Caleb Williams in that offense. The only reason why they're in those games is because of the quarterback play.
Yep.
And the receiver play.
I mean, my thing is this. So, with USC, they're kind of the one of the, picks that everybody's doing, possibly to make the college football playoff this year. And when you look at that game last night, I mean, I don't know that like the Pac-12 this year actually has some really good teams.
They do.
There's 4 or 5 of them that are really good teams.
Well, there's 2 or 3 teams that could win the Pac-12 championship. You got Washington as a sleeper. Well, I wouldn't say they're a sleeper, but they're one of the dark horses. You got USC that's going to be in there. You got Oregon that's going to be a player. They got Utah that's going to be another player because they brought back Cam Rising and they brought back they're good running back. So they're going to have a good offense again, and their defense is always underrated. Utah's is. So, I mean,
they always play well because they got that. You got what's his face is their coach. They personify his attitude. So yeah, I mean, Utah's defense is usually, plays tough.
They do.
And then there is 2 other games that I don't have listed on here, and I just want to give a mention to them. They played yesterday. Jacksonville State actually won their very first FBS game yesterday.
The Gamecocks.
That's right.
I want to give them some love because they won their very first FBS game yesterday, and then UMass went and won a huge game for UMass. They haven't won a game like that since 2018 or something like that, something crazy.
Do you know who their next opponent is?
No, I don't.
At Auburn.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn? Really? I had no idea. No.
Auburn starts off with UMass next week at 2:30.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. No.
So I paid a little attention to that one just to kind of see what's going on.
Offensively, they looked pretty strong.
Right.
I'm
And defensively,
surprised. You know what's really surprising to me is they beat New Mexico State, if I'm correct.
Right. Yeah, they beat New Mexico State.
They beat a team that was coached by Jerry Keel. And Jerry Keel usually has really good teams.
Yeah.
And they looked really out of sorts yesterday. And they just didn't look like a Jerry Keel type team.
right.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to give those two teams some love since we're talking about the games from yesterday. I thought, it's a big win for both programs. So, I just wanted to kind of give them a shout out.
Speaking of Jacksonville State, my parents, it's their alma mater, and they were at the game yesterday. So they went there.
Hey, John, cherry Pepsi, by the way.
There you go.
Hey, it's Pepsi. Don't matter.
Hey, I got a Pepsi Zero right now.
Nobody cares about yours, man.
All right, what we got?
I'm just kidding, man.
All right, so we're going to go to our next segment. We got some pick six. Here we go, guys. Something quick. All right. Did that play?
It did.
Yes, sir.
All right. So this is our pick six segment. This is something we will be doing on again.
Yep, there we go. Now you're back.
There we go.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's playing twice every time I click it. But anyways, So this is a segment we will be doing on Tuesday nights on our Big Fuss show. And tonight, our first topic is going to be Heisman frontrunners. Pick six. The idea is to pick six guys that you guys think might have a chance at the Heisman. So, John Roberts, I'll start with you. Who you think is going to be your top six guys for the Heisman?
All right, I'm going to throw out one that everybody's going to throw out, but I'm not necessarily really big on the guy. I'm mainly because he won it last year. He's only on the list because he won it last year. I just don't think that he's going to top his numbers or do anything that impresses everybody to want to pick him again to go back to back. So Caleb Williams, number one. Then we'll just kind of start making our rounds on quarterbacks and running backs here. So I believe Will Rogers is going to put up some numbers and make a run at being that. But the problem with Will Rogers is that he plays for a team that's not going to win a whole lot of ball games. And that's going to be his biggest issue. All right. But now we go look at guys that are going to be on winning teams. You're going to have like Bo Nix, Penix Jr. as well, doing those two West Coast guys. So there's three West Coast guys that I'm looking at. Yeah. And then I really don't want to pick like a Georgia's quarterback, I just don't know if he's going to do what it takes to win. Like they're going to be, he's a quarterback on a winning ball team, but I don't know if he's going to be the one that puts up a ton of numbers. Same thing with like Alabama. Alabama's quarterback doesn't matter who they put out there. I mean, the only way that they have a quarterback that's in it is if Jalen Milroe gets it, and all of a sudden he does everything that they thought that he ever could do. You know, meaning like he's an accurate quarterback passer and he runs like the wind, which is what he can do, but doesn't necessarily mean he will do. So I have a really hard time picking those guys. So I mean, like your Sam Hartmans and your Learys of the world are going to probably be guys that actually do really well, and those are going to be the guys that I would put in there. So I'm going to go with Sam Hartman in there, not just because he just played yesterday, but because that Notre Dame team is going to be a team.
Pretty good team.
Yeah, pretty good team out there. Yeah. And I mean, you've got the quarterback and the running back for Michigan. Those are going to be they're going to put up pretty good numbers. I think it's J.J. McCarthy, and it's going to be Blake Corum. Yeah, so those two guys right there. I'm actually going to bow out. I'm going to say I'm going to take Caleb Williams off. I'm going to add one of the Michigan guys in. So there you go. So we're going to go Penix, Bo Nix. We're going to go Blake Corum, Sam Hartman. Yeah, Hartman. And then I'll even go in with J.J. McCarthy right here. And then Will Rogers. And then there you go. There's my 6.
All right. John Hammonds, what about you?
I'm going to go Caleb Williams. I think he's the best player in football. It's just my take. But
the best player nobody saw.
And
he took some awfully bad sacks yesterday. That's all I'm going to say.
He also made an unbelievable play too. So
amazing play. Yeah, for sure.
He made a lot more last year though, but it's still the first game this year. But I'm gonna put in Michael Penix from Washington, Jordan Travis from Florida State.
Okay,
he's gonna be involved. And then I'm gonna put one in there that Brad loves more than anybody is Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he deserves.
That's my guy. He's gonna be in there.
I think he deserves some love. The kid is a really good football player. I think he's the best wide receiver in football.
I think he's the best player in college football.
And I'm going to go a sleeper pick.
Okay, go for it.
And I know I'm a homer. I'm going to go Devin Leary. I think Devin Leary is going to have – if he gets the line to block for him, I think Devin Leary is going to have a heck of a football season. And if the offensive line can get together for Kentucky, I think that Devin Leary could have a really – outstanding year because look what he did at NC State. That's not easy to do.
Possible, but Kentucky's got to win 9 or 10.
They got to win. They got to win 9 or 10 games.
To have a real chance.
They got to beat Tennessee. They got to have one of those upset wins over Georgia or Alabama to at least get a opportunity for him to win it.
All right, so y'all pretty much cover the spectrum. You took one of mine that I definitely was going to say, and that's Marvin Harrison Jr. I think by far he's the best player in college football. I don't even think it's close. But I'm going to give you another sleeper name, and that's Judkins from
that's a good one. I like that one.
Like I really think that he could have that special of a year.
I agree. I like that one. That one's a good one.
And then if I had to throw out one more sleeper pick, it would be Brock Bowers. Now, it's a real long shot because he's a tight end.
Correct.
But, I mean, it's a long shot just because of the position he plays.
Yes.
But I do believe that he's that special that he could get maybe top 5 in the voting or something like that, maybe.
You got a better shot at Marvin Harrison Jr. getting a top 5 than Brock Bowers. The only reason why I would go against like your Marvin Harrison, while I really like the guy, I think the guy is awesome, is we don't know what his quarterback's going to be like.
I know, but he's legit. Man, I'm telling you, Marvin Harrison, I think he's better than half the darn NFL receivers now.
And I would agree that he's really good. Again, quarterback may not be able to get it to him.
We still don't even know who the quarterback's going to be for Ohio State.
Oh, it's pretty sure it's going to be the was it McCollum or what's his name?
They haven't named one unless they've done it this evening.
No, I don't think they've named him, but McCord. Yeah. I think McCord's the guy that more than likely is going to take it. But a couple of guys that we didn't actually that none of us named, Quinn Ewers
Ewers has got a shot at it,
right? Cade Klubnik, which I thought that might be one that and Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels has the best odds right now.
And so does Drake May. Drake May is another one that we could.
Well, Drake May is actually further down the
issue
list.
With picking Drake May though is can that North Carolina defense do anything?
I know.
That's the main issue.
I agree with that.
They could lose a lot of games with that defense the way it was last year.
Yeah. So
but those are some of the players that I think.
I get what you're saying here.
Yeah.
And one other guy that we didn't name that may be a guy that I don't know. I mean, I guess he'd be a sleeper, but I would go with where is he? Drew Aller for Penn State.
Yeah,
possibly.
So if you want to go that far, you can go Braylon Allen from Wisconsin, the running back. He's going to get a lot of yards this year for the Badgers.
Right.
Yeah. They're going to run the football quite a bit.
Right.
I just like Judkins better. I like Judkins better than Corum or him, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see how the season plays out, but
Yeah.
All right. So college football playoffs. I started with Roberts a minute ago. Hammonds. I'll start with you. Who's going to be your college football playoff team?
All right.
You can also give me 2 just on the outside or 2 sleepers, however you want to do it. So it'll be 6.
Okay, so I'm going to go Alabama's going to be there. They're going to be back. You're going to have Georgia. You're going to have Ohio State. And then I'm trying to think of the other team. I'm going to go Michigan. I think Michigan will be there.
See, that's hard for me. You just picked 2 SEC and 2 Big Ten teams.
Yeah, I just think those are the 4 best teams.
I can go. I'm on board that one of those conferences might get 2. I just don't really think that both of them will get 2 in. And I noticed yesterday on College Game Day, Kirk and McAfee both did the same thing.
Well, the thing is, it's all going to depend on that Michigan Ohio State game. Whoever loses that game is going to be the odd man out, I think. And I don't know. But if I had to say the outside looking in, it would be FSU. And personally, I think Clemson could get there. There's a real chance for Clemson to get back. But there's another team that we talked about the other night, Brad, that you said that you absolutely cannot stand to say what you want to say. But they're sitting in Dallas. I know everybody don't want to say it, and it says Texas is back.
The only way Texas is getting there is if they beat Bama in week 2. They have to beat Bama.
They have to.
Week 2.
But I will say this. This is the best Texas team that Sark has had.
And I mean, that's a huge if. If they beat Bama in Tuscaloosa, they have a chance.
That's a big if. But say they go down there and they beat Alabama.
Yeah.
The chance for them to go to the championship game is the best they've had in over since since Vince Young.
Well, it would be, but they got to beat Bama first. I got to see that first.
Well, they did go to the championship game in
opportunity
09, which was sooner than Vince Young. So
I'll say this, like I told Brad, there's an opportunity there for them to win 10 games this year.
Yeah, but I don't think
as much as
I don't think 10 will get them to the college football playoff.
I don't think it will either, but it'll get them to a big bowl.
Yeah. All right, John Roberts, who's your 6? Who's your 4 that's getting in, and then 2 either next 2 or sleeper teams or however you want to do it?
Georgia, Bama, Michigan, and Clemson are getting in. It's those 4.
All right.
The 2 that are left out, Penn State, LSU.
Okay.
Basically,
so
LSU.
neither one of you have a Pac-12 school in there.
No, I refuse to pick Pac-12 right now.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think this is the year, and I have been feeling that for a while. This was before all the demolition of the Pac-12 and all that crap that's going on.
What's going to happen? What's going to happen right now is that one of the teams from the Pac-12 that is going to the Big Ten is going to win the championship. The Big Ten's going to claim it. The Pac-12 is going to claim it, and then the Pac-4, whatever's left over next year, will dissolve itself and turn into the Big West or something like that.
So here's my thing. I think this is the year. I do not believe, unless Texas beats Alabama, I do not believe that a Big 12 school gets in this time. I just don't.
Gotcha.
I'm leaving out the Big 12 unless
I left the Big 12 out too.
Unless Texas beats Alabama, okay?
Right.
I just have a sneaky feeling that this is the year. It's the last year of the Big 12 or Pac-12 and everything, and they've got a bunch of teams, and I just have a feeling you're going to see one of these teams sneak in the college football playoff. So mine, I actually have Washington in there in my college football playoff. I also have Georgia and Michigan, and I went back and forth between Bama and Ohio State, really, for my 4th one. And honestly, I think you could flip a damn coin, really. But I'm going to go Bama is where I'm going to go with it. I think when you're tossed, have a coin toss like that, you should lean SEC 9 times out of 10.
Both of them's got questions at quarterback, and
they do. Both of them kind of have questions at quarterback. So I think LSU is right there. They would be one of my next teams.
They just have to win all the games that they're supposed to win and not lose
and I'm
one.
actually right there with Penn State as well. So those would be my teams that I would pick for the college.
I had LSU on the outside looking in too, but it's all going to matter on those games that they need to win. Like that game against FSU is critical, I think.
My winner, I'm just going to go ahead, guys. Like until somebody beats Georgia, I know, they're replacing a lot and everything, but right now at the beginning of this season, the 2-time defending champs, I'm going to go with Georgia.
I'm actually going to pick against Georgia for the only purpose that we haven't seen a three-peat, and I'm just going to say that the three-peat doesn't happen.
You're probably right.
I'm playing the odds.
Probably more than likely right, but yeah.
Going against them just for that sole reason. But I do understand what you're saying until somebody shows that they can beat them.
At that level.
Yeah.
And I'll even go as far as to say that this might be the best Georgia team they had compared to last year. They might be better than last year.
Right, with the downgraded quarterback.
With a downgraded quarterback. Yeah. So, I think Carson Beck will do good. I think I think he'll lead them. He won't have to do a lot. Like if you get it to Brock Bowers and you do, you let Georgia do their run game and their defense keeps you in games every single night, Georgia will win the majority of those games.
But Georgia lost a running back for the year.
They're still going to be good at running.
They lost one. I'm not saying that their whole running game's gone. I'm just saying one of their stable of backs are gone. Is out for the year.
There's another one that's got some kind of sprain or something that's going to be out for a little while.
Milton, I think. Kendall Milton.
Yeah.
Might be Milton, I think. I can't remember.
Well, one of them tore an ACL, and he's gone for the season.
Yeah, that's
that ain't Milton. That's another one.
Yeah.
So the running back is an issue for them right now, probably, at least.
Now, their wide receiver group might be the best in college football next to Ohio State, I think.
So Hammonds, are you taking Georgia to win it all?
Yes and no, but I'm going to say yes because the three-peat, like John said, three-peat is hard to accomplish. I don't think it's ever, like you said, it's never been done.
Bama got close until Auburn had the kick six.
It's never been done, but I don't recall it being done since like the 60s.
I'll say this to all them Alabama fans out there. This might be Saban's year. He's going to regroup. He's going to get it back to where he had it. I think this is probably the most talented Bama team that he's had in the last couple of years. He's had a lot of talent.
And you want to know why I agree with you on that?
Murder ball.
Let me ask you a
Murder
question.
ball is coming back.
When's the last time y'all seen Nick Saban smile so much and have fun at press conferences and talking to people? When's the last time y'all seen him doing that?
2020.
At the latest.
I'm telling you.
At the most. Yeah.
Like it's been a little while. Saban he's not all happy and smiling and cracking jokes and like that's not his demeanor unless he knows he's got a really good team.
If Murder Ball comes back the way that everybody's expecting it to do, which means the offensive line is absolutely just mauling everybody, then it doesn't matter who they have at quarterback. It really doesn't, because they're just going to run the ball and they'll throw the passing won't be as much of a necessary. I mean, it will look a lot like the 2009, the 2011, the 2012 teams that came through, and it will just be, but it'll be one that runs like those, but has the offensive concepts like, 2017, 2020, stuff like that, those guys, because it's going to be spread, but they're going to murder ball out of spread.
I mean, let's be honest.
Great.
Saban knows who he's starting at quarterback. He's just not telling it. He don't want the world to know.
Here's the deal. He's going to start Jalen Milroe. All right, let's just go ahead.
I think he's going to play 2 or 3 of them this coming weekend. Just to keep Texas off.
The start is going to be Jalen Milroe. He will take the very first snap. Okay, Ty Simpson will play in this game. Okay, between those two is because they've got to figure out who plays the best during that game. That will be your starter for Texas in week 2. Okay. Yeah. There was a third guy that was in the running. I think he's been since taken out of the running. So it is between Jalen Milroe and between
Ty Notre Dame. That's the Notre Dame transfer.
Yeah, Tyler Buckner.
That's it. That's the one. So anyway, so it's the first snap is going to be Jalen Milroe, because unless we've heard of Ty Simpson just absolutely taking over practices, which we haven't, then he's going to go give it to the guy with experience, which is Jalen Milroe. But kind of in the same situation, the same vein as when Jalen Hurts took the starting job, right? He was not the initial starter in game 1 against Florida State. he came in around Series 3 or so into that game and never gave it up. So there's a possibility that Ty Simpson comes in and does that, or that Jalen Milroe does what he needs to do to.
I completely agree with you, especially this first game before the Texas game. Right. He's not going to play all of his cards and show his complete hand to Texas anyway.
And he's not going to show a lot for Middle Tennessee either. So,
well, right, and I think even in the Texas game, he's going to play Jalen Milroe as more of a like a wildcat type quarterback too. Yeah, he's going to. I think he plays Milroe in that game regardless of Milroe being the starter, unless Ty Simpson is 100%, no question about it, takes it from him during game 1, which I don't really see that happening, but it doesn't mean it can't happen. So,
I mean, that's all fair stuff. USC has an outside shot, but looking at them yesterday in the defense, I kind of doubt that now. Mm-hmm. I think Utah has an outside shot of making a college football playoff. Of course, Clemson is right there, and FSU is right there. I'm just not – you go outside of Clemson and FSU in the ACC.
Just not a lot.
What do you have? I mean, they have 2 teams. I mean, the Pac-12 has 5 or 6 pretty good teams. The ACC has 2. That's it. How do you put them in? I mean, unless they absolutely have to be at least 12-1.
No, I think the ACC's got to be undefeated. And I mean, well, unless you are, unless you're Florida State, who loses the first game to LSU, the ACC has to be undefeated, because like Clemson couldn't do it with 1 loss because of the fact that if they lose to an ACC school outside of Florida State would end up taking the job anyway, or would take the conference anyway. But like if they lost to a team, during the year and it wasn't Florida State, I mean, they got rid of divisions already, right? Or are they still divisions?
No, they got rid of divisions. So
this year they could possibly have
play twice. Yeah.
Okay, so they could play each other twice. So outside of the idea that Florida State beats Clemson game 1 and then Clemson beats Florida State, in the championship, Clemson doesn't really have much of a way of being undefeated, or not undefeated and getting in. That's the only way.
Notre Dame at home. That's probably one of their toughest games.
Okay. So Notre Dame could, but still, I think that Notre Dame would probably be the only other exception, because if they lose to South Carolina, I think that being so late in the year,
that's enough.
That'd be too late in the year. Also, South Carolina's not going to be strong enough to be like, well, it's a strength of schedule. That's the
reason why I struggle with putting an ACC team in there, just because of that reason alone.
Well, that's why I put one in, is because I think that all they have to do is be undefeated, and I think they get in. So I think that Clemson could be undefeated.
They're probably getting in.
I think that Clemson could be undefeated. It'd be a cupcake schedule. I don't think they're going to win the national championship, but I think they could be undefeated and get in.
Right.
So that's why I put them in. So.
All right. I mean, that's fair. Yep. All right. So another segment that we do here on College Sportscast is on Thursdays, we do a segment called Game Day Pick'em. All right. So our Game Day Pick'ems, kind of like College Game Day, we take some of the best games.
It must be playing the second time. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
He's getting that video again. So he'll be back. Yep. He's smiling at it. He knows.
Yeah.
He got that video again. So For everybody that doesn't understand, Brad apparently sees the video that you just saw twice.
I just saw it twice.
Yep. See, and there he is. He's talking about it.
Yeah.
So when he goes silent like that, that's because the second video, the second time is going.
I don't know why, but you're exactly right. It did play twice. I don't know why, but here at College Sportscast on Thursday nights, we do a game day pick'em for the upcoming weekend games, and we pick about 10 or 12 games for that week. Tonight, we're doing something short. Next Thursday night, August 31st, there is a list of about 10 or 12 games or so being played. I have picked 3.
Actually, this Thursday night.
Are we picking the games for Thursday right now?
Yeah, yes, because it's Sunday. Yes, it would be
it's
this Thursday.
It's this Thursday night.
It would be this Thursday night, August 31st. I picked 3 games for us to kind of talk about. I've got them there on the screen for everybody. The first one I think is the biggest game of the weekend before the LSU Florida State game, I think. So you've got this on Thursday night. You've got Florida that is going to Utah. Utah came to Florida last year in the swamp and got beat at the very end. Utah is a 7-point favorite in this game. So what do you guys think about Florida going out to Utah and as a 7-point favorite for the Utes?
I think it's going to be a tough year for Napier, Billy. It's just going to be. The recruiting's getting better. They're doing good on the recruiting trail, but they still got a long way to go. Now next year they probably will be a lot better than they was this year. But I don't think they go to Utah and win that game. I think Utah has a lot of where they screwed up last year towards the end of the game. Last year they made some mistakes, and Florida won it late in the game. I think that they'll have revenge on their mind. And I'm going to tell you something. Utah is hard to beat at home. They are hard to beat at home. Mm-hmm. That stadium is probably one of the most underrated stadiums in the country when it comes to playing a game there. And I'm just going to give you my pick. I think Florida loses this, but I do think it'll be close. I think it'll be a touchdown type game.
So you're saying right at the number?
That's what the spread is 7.
Right at the number?
I say right at the number, yeah. Florida will cover. It's just
so it'll be a push?
It'll be a push, yeah.
Okay.
I just think with Florida rebuilding, and losing quite a bit, I just don't think they're Utah's got the better talent across the board, I think, especially at quarterback.
Well, so just to give you a little bit of an update, Cam Rising hasn't been cleared for this game as of yesterday. I don't know. I haven't heard today. But, he blew out his knee on January 1st last year in the bowl game. And he has not been cleared for this game yet. Now, Cam Rising himself did a press conference a few days ago, and he claims that he's going to listen to the medical staff, but he's ready to play. So we'll see what happens. He says it's going to be a 2-hour before game time decision, is what he said. All right. John Roberts, what do you think about this game?
I'm still going to go Utah. I'm going to say it's inside the number, but I'm going to go Utah as the outright winner. And my decision doesn't really matter if Cam Rising plays, then I think that they could actually win by bigger than the number. But if he's not playing, I think it's inside the number, but I still think Utah still wins the game. So I'm going Utah winning the game outright. And Cam Rising only makes it a Utah wins in the number. So,
well, I mean, I can agree with exactly what you just said. I mean, if Cam Rising plays, I actually think it grows beyond the 7 points. It wouldn't surprise me being at home with Cam Rising playing that it's not a 10 to 15 point win, somewhere in that range.
yeah, I'd say about 10. Yeah, I'd go 10.
Yeah. And if Cam's not playing, I mean, it's going to be much more of a battle, and it probably would be under the number.
Yeah, I think it's a field goal. I think a field goal, last drive, field goal, kick to win. So
Shane says Florida by 3.
I don't see that on the road at Utah. That's
I don't either. I'm going Utah. I actually, if Cam plays, I'm going over on the spread.
Yeah, I am too.
I think
I mean,
Cam Rising is probably one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the country.
right.
I love Cam Rising. I loved him last year. Hammonds, you probably remember me bragging about him last year. So, so I'm going Utah. If Cam plays, over. If not, I'll go under the 7. The next game that I'm going to talk about that is on Thursday, the 31st, NC State, the Wolfpack, they go and play at UConn. Now,
this is a tricky game.
This is very tricky.
and UConn doesn't get quite the love that they deserve,
right?
With Mora Jr. there, but they are a 15-point underdog at home. So, the spread yesterday on DraftKings was 15 points late last night. So that's what we're going with here tonight is 15.
I think NC State wins this game, but for UConn to win this, they're going to have to get better passing game for this year. Last year, the passing game wasn't really up to par. Jim Mora is improving that team. He's doing a really good job with that team. I wouldn't be shocked if this game was close into the fourth quarter. But I think NC State, ultimately, they win this game. I think the D-line and the offensive line will take over, especially in the third and the fourth quarters. But don't be surprised at halftime if this game ain't 3 points or less, because I think it'll be closer than people think. But NC State will eventually wear them down in the fourth quarter.
Okay, so you've got it. Oh, you got them over the 15 or under the 15?
I got them over the 15.
Over. All right.
I just think they'll score another late touchdown to put it out of reach.
All right, John Roberts, what do you think?
So NC State outright win, but it's under the 15.
You think it's under the 15?
Yeah, so I've got NC State winning the game, but it's under the 15. So UConn covers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty safe pick.
Yeah.
I just, this UConn team is not getting near the love and respect like I think that they deserve. I mean, Jim Moore Jr. is in his second year at UConn.
Yeah.
This is just his second season, so he is still in the process of, kind of getting that roster set the way he wants to and turning things around. But, he's got a quarterback in now, and they were a lot better than people thought they were going to be last year. And I expect them to move the needle even a little bit more this time. And NC State going to UConn to open the season is a very interesting matchup.
It is.
I mean, you don't see too many Power 5 football schools going on the road like that, period. But especially the first game of the season.
Yeah, especially against a team like UConn. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see that very often. So I think it's a real interesting game. And I am going to pick NC State to cover this. But, man, there are so many things inside of me that says that it's going to be like a 12 or 11, 12, 13-point game.
But, yeah, when we do that and then they end up being a blowout and then we come back to this and it's just –
yeah.
And then we overreact the opposite direction. We're like, oh my God, NC State is so good, or oh my God, UConn is so great and NC State sucks. We'll just do that.
Just way it works.
UConn plays another game or two early in the season in September that's going to be interesting as well.
Yep.
But I like this one, so I had to bring this one up. So the next game is the same night, August 31st. Nebraska is opening, and this is a Big Ten matchup on opening night.
Yeah.
Nebraska at Minnesota. So this will be Rule's first coaching gig with Nebraska, going against PJ Fleck. And I think Minnesota is a 7.5-point favorite.
And I think Nebraska covers, but I do think Nebraska loses this game. But I'll say this, they'll see some glimpses of what's to come with this Matt Rule team. Nebraska will, the fans. They'll see what they're in store for. I think it'll be a lot better than what people think. And then they got, I think, Colorado next week. I'll say this on this game. Say you go, this game's at Minnesota, right?
Yeah, it is. It's at
Minnesota. Go into Minnesota and win, and you come back the next week, and you have a shot to knock off prime time and be 2-0 to start the year. That's
that could be huge for Nebraska.
After the last 3 to 4 years, what Nebraska has went through, and you got an opportunity to make a statement on the big stage. I think that's a huge opportunity. But like I said, I think Minnesota wins this one. I don't think they blow them out. I don't think this is as good of a Minnesota team as they had a year ago or the year before, but I think it'll be a close game.
I mean, they were 9-4 last year. Minnesota was.
And wasn't it 1 year where they only lost one? Was it one game late in the year? Was it a couple of years ago or something when they had I think it was like they had 1 or 2 losses or something.
It's a couple of years ago.
It was a couple of years ago, yeah.
It was a couple of years ago, I think. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So Shane says Minnesota covers.
I agree with Shane. I believe
Jerry is on with us. What does Jerry say?
He said close by 3 is what
close
Jerry
by
said.
3.
I think Minnesota covers, though.
All right. So you got Minnesota covering, Hammonds?
Mm-hmm.
John Roberts?
Minnesota covers.
You said Minnesota covers?
Yep.
They are a ground and pound team.
I think that's going to be the ultimate factor because they're going to use tempo to keep Nebraska off the field.
And the question now is with some of the clock rules and stuff like that will go in Minnesota's favor as far as that. The other part is that Nebraska probably doesn't have the depth to keep up. Mm-hmm. So late in the game, if you're doing a ground and pound on somebody late in the game, I think it favors the team that has the solid running game because you're just going to wear another team out. And
last year Minnesota ranked 3rd in the country in time of possession.
So and now you're going to get even more. If you're able to do the same thing, you're going to have more time of possession because the clock is a running clock, except for inside the 2 minutes at the end, like in the second and the fourth quarter. So you're going to have more time to possess the ball.
Incomplete passes, it just keeps ticking.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
yeah.
That it's a running clock until you're inside the 2 minutes.
Even on an incomplete pass, it runs.
Mm-hmm. Runs on an incomplete pass, runs on a first down. It keeps running unless you're inside the 2 minutes.
The only time it stops is if a flag's thrown, it's stopped.
Right. But once you get inside 2 minutes like basically the 2 minute warning in the NFL, when you get inside the 2 minutes of the second quarter and the fourth quarter, then it does the whole stop. It stops on first down and stops on incomplete.
People's going to like this rule eventually.
Well, so far, what we've seen in the first 5 or so games is that it has cut down the amount of plays to what. Yeah, so it's cut down the amount of plays that any team plays, essentially to one game. If they keep this track from now until the end of the season, that it would cut down essentially one game's play with the amount of plays that are cut per game. That if you put it all together, it would amount to being one game. Okay. However, the time of the ball games so far are still the same.
Does the time still? Do they stop the clock when they go for a TV camera out?
Yeah, but I think they're doing some TV timeouts and some things.
Well, there was a lot of extra timeouts because of the heat that was this weekend, and I think that what we need to see is what happens next week and what happens the following week to kind of get a really good gauge as to how this is going. But in the first weekend, the time of the ball games were still the 3.5 hour.
They still pretty late.
Yeah. But they were running about 6 to 8, plays short per team.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so I'm going to pick Minnesota to cover 2, just so you guys know. We're kind of running. We was going to do this show in an hour tonight, so we're kind of running close here on time. I do want to tell you guys that I have a couple of $10 True Victory gift cards to give away. The 3 of us need to sit down and talk about how we're going to do that, and maybe have a little drawing live next Sunday for you guys. Maybe how to enter. Sit down and maybe do a drawing either next Sunday or the following Sunday. One of the next 2 Sundays, we will definitely have a drawing for some $10 gift cards for True Victory. So I do want to put that on the screen there. Tuesday, we are going to be doing our final preview and prediction show. This one is the SEC. That is going to be our final Power 5 preview and prediction show. It will be at 8 o'clock. They are long shows. They're like 2-hour shows. It's hard to go through 14, 15 teams, and it not take a long time.
Yeah, so Brad puts me to sleep whenever he does it. So
they are long shows, and I fully am, willing to admit that. And then this Thursday on the 31st is going to be our first full season 2 game day pick'em show. So we have a full slate of games to pick from. Actually, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, there's a game because it's holiday weekend.
And Sunday.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I thought he said. I didn't know if he said.
Yeah, so he went Thursday through Sunday. We're playing game every day.
Thursday through Monday. There's actually
Thursday through Monday. Sorry, Thursday through Monday.
And reminder, it's the first official. I always count it as the first official last weekend of summer because it's Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, it's Labor Day weekend. Yeah. So we got a big slate of games to pick from for this week. I will say I looked at them. There's not a lot of big games. So
there's just a few here and there.
So we'll pick 8 or 10 if I can sneak in 11 or 12.
But we did that last year where they wasn't a lot of big games, and they had 2 or 3 upsets out of those cupcake games.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure that'll happen. But we'll pick 8 or 10 games on the slate over the weekend and do our first game day pick'em show for season 2 next week or this week on Thursday, the 31st. So that's our next 2 shows. I hope that you guys enjoyed our DaFanBoys season 2 kickoff. I want to say it was great to kind of go through and watch each show. We had Nebraska, we had Furman, we had let's see, we had NC State, we had Clemson, we had an NFL show, we've had Texas.
On their Georgia one.
We had a Georgia show today, and I want to say what a pleasure it was. There's more. You can run through and catch these shows. I do
have an update. Later on in the season, me and Brad had discussed this. We will be having Hal Mummy on the show during the season. So I just wanted to just throw that out there. Former Valdosta State, Kentucky coach. Just wanted to throw that on there so people would know that he'll be coming on pretty soon with us. I just got to get a date and stuff for when he can come on.
Get things worked out a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. So, like I said, we'll be doing the SEC. We have not made our picks for the SEC yet. So we all three and the people that know us, we are SEC guys. So,
Really?
Yeah, we're all SEC.
Are we really? Are we?
We've done everything else but the SEC. So now we're kind of going to
We're doing everything. We're doing everything this year except Auburn football. So,
so it's going to be.
I had to get a little dig in there, man. Like
it's going to be a fun show to do. So y'all join us on Tuesday night for the SEC preview. John, I appreciate you being on with me. And you guys check out the FanBoys and hit that subscribe and like on the YouTube channel or the Facebook page for College Sportscast. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you Tuesday.
See you, man.